Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lynn Toller presiding. You may be seated.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. We're here today on the case of Thomas Martin versus Tiffany Martin. Mr. and Mrs. Martin, you've been married 1 year. You do have one child together. Mr. Martin, you say that your wife is bossy and you're a little upset about the second baby whose paternity you are unsure about. Mrs. Martin, you say your husband was cheating and simply not bringing home enough money. Mr. Martin, I'm going to start with you.
Just last week, my wife had a child. I'm in the delivery room with her. I'm holding her hand. She's pushing. I even cut the baby's umbilical cord. Nurse said, "Here you go, Daddy. Hand me the baby." I'm looking down. This ain't my kid.
Now, Mr. Martin, how do you know from a quick look that it wasn't your child?
No, I got a big nose. This nose is way bigger than mine. It ain't my baby.
Well, now, Mr. Martin, I must say, all children look different.
I understand that.
You know, some of them tall, some of them curly, some of them light, some of them
I'm not feeling the
brown.
connection. I'm not feeling the connection. So feeling insecure about this, I go ask the nurse. "Excuse me, nurse, what blood type is this baby?" I know for a fact my wife and my kids' blood type is O positive. This baby's A positive. Now, how do two O's make an A? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Medically speaking, you have a point. Mrs. Martin, do you want to explain the concerns he has over the baby?
It happened 9 months ago. I let him know from the beginning that he may not be the baby's daddy. He knew that from the get-go. And when I went to the hospital to find out I was pregnant, he was there. He convinced himself that he was the father. I did not once ever tell him that he was. Nothing. He convinced himself.
So
I didn't come out
he
and
was
say.
just blinded by the fact that you didn't say anything and, oh, hey, you happen to be his wife, so
Thank you.
the baby might be his. Tell me how we got into the position that you may indeed have a child by another man. Mr. Martin, can you help me out with that?
I'm gonna let you know.
Please.
We get married. First of all, I was forced into this marriage, okay? Not that I didn't, I did been with her for about 4 or 5 years. We've been together. I didn't want that piece of paper.
How old are you?
Ma'am, I'm only 20 years old.
And you had been together with her 5 years?
I've known this woman since I was 16 years old. She's my first and only love.
Uh-huh. You had time for anything else.
I haven't had time for nothing. She's all I know.
Okay. So you were forced to get married.
I was given an ultimatum. I was given an ultimatum. Either marry me or we're done.
You never really decided you wanted to be married?
That's right. I never wanted to be married to begin with. I figure if we're doing good, what is a piece of paper going to change? We don't need that. All that does is legally bind me to stuff. She got the upper hand in the situation now.
Well, if you were worried about being bound and tied up with someone, didn't you think maybe you shouldn't have babies with them? I mean, if that doesn't tie somebody up, what does?
You're right, you're right.
Much
And that's
more than a
something-
piece of paper.
Being so young, I never thought about that.
What else went wrong?
Well, like I said, I was going out with some friends, hanging out. She's constantly blowing up my phone left and right. Where you at? Who is that in the background? What are you doing? I'm like, man, leave me alone. You know, I'm trying to distance myself from this situation. You got what you want. We married. That's what you wanted. All I'm doing is hanging out with friends. That's all I was doing, Yana.
Marriage is not I do. That's just the ceremony that gets you married.
Correct.
Marriage is a whole process. It's a process of compromise, conversation, care, concern. Can't do what you want to do a lot of the time. That's what marriage is.
You're right.
You know what I mean? Just because you didn't want to get married is no excuse for getting married and acting a fool as soon as you do. You went out together on that?
Correct, yes.
So you started going out. What happened? She's blowing up the phone. She's angry. You're going out. What happened?
What happened? I'm getting stressed out, overwhelmed. No matter what I do, it's not good enough for her. Again, she reiterated the fact that I need to get a second job. And I'm thinking, if you had one job, I wouldn't need to get a second job. How you gonna tell me to get a second job? You ain't got no job.
How long were you together before you separated the first time?
We were together, as far as a marriage-wise, we were
Right.
married for 2 months. 2 months, and she leaves me. She leaves me not any other day out of the week. She leaves me on my birthday.
Why did she leave? Why did she say she left?
She said she left me because of my mouth. I was running my mouth. You know, I'm out partying. It's my birthday. I'm trying to enjoy myself. I might have talked to, you know, a few other females. Nothing serious. She's right here with me. She didn't like it. She up and leaves.
And then she leaves you. She left the room, then she left you.
She left the room, she left the house, she left the city. She went to her mama's house.
When did you come back?
About 4 months later.
Why did you come back?
Because I thought we could work things out. We were sitting there talking, things were going better. He slowly eased his way back into our life like he did, started coming around,
So you two were calling each other
daughter.
and talking to each other
Yeah.
and trying to reconcile.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you trying to reconcile with her, Mr. Martin?
Yes, ma'am. And like you said,
Why?
at that time, I guess, I'd cross over from being a boy to a man to a certain extent. I learned that this is a responsibility I need to take care of. I'm a married man with kids.
I give you your props on that. That is quite true.
Thank you.
So you two got back together.
We get back together.
How
Well,
long were you together before things got bad again?
this is how it started. We get back on speaking terms before we got back together, okay? I'm trying to visit my daughter. She brings my daughter to me. She pulls up in some car I've never seen before. She has my car. I got a little red car. And I, whose car is this? We're supposed to be working. Whose car are you driving? She flat out tells me some guy she's been dating.
You mean to tell me you went home to reconcile with your husband with the guy that you're currently dating? Is this what you're telling me?
Yes, ma'am.
Walk me through that thought process real quick.
Walk me through it, too. I'm trying to figure it out.
Because I really didn't think about it at that time.
You really didn't think about it. Did you stop seeing your boyfriend once you found out you were pregnant and got back with your husband?
Not from the beginning, no.
Not from the beginning, no.
Not at all.
Yes, I did.
Are you still with the boyfriend?
He's in the military. He's in Oklahoma.
Okay, but are you still with him?
Yes.
When did you decide you had enough?
I decided I had enough. Let me build up to that real quick.
Okay, please do.
We get back together. After we find out she's pregnant, we do get back together.
Right.
I don't have a stable living situation. Neither does she. We move back into her mother's house.
Right.
Okay? I'm working now. Get back into, I get off work. This guy's standing in her mother's house. I've never met this dude before. This is the first time I met him. So being civil, trying to respect her mother, being my mother-in-law, trying to respect her household, we talk. We sit down and talk. It's her decision. That's what we both agree to. It's her decision. As much as we want to change it, it's her decision who she wants to be with. So we agree we want to sit back and let her make that decision. A couple days later, she decides me. And I'm thinking, of course, I'm her husband. Maybe she's thinking this is my kid too. So I get convinced this is my child. I move back into her mother's house, right? Mm-hmm. We get into it again. Clash of personalities, call it what you want, and I don't know what it was. Nitpicking about every little thing. I get off work. Who were you talking to at work? What took you so long to get home? Nitpicking everything. I'm just want to get home and relax. What does she do? She gets out. She moves in with the other gentleman and his mother.
And you still living with him?
And I'm still living at my in-laws' house. Exactly. Without her. I'm just living in my mother-in-law's because I ain't got nowhere else to go.
Did you do that?
Yes, I did.